Glass, and welcome to the members section of the Seen Through Glass website. First time I've done a proper intro for you guys, because often when I've made videos that have ended up on the members section, I'm never quite sure whether they're going to end up on the main channel or the members section. Basically how things have been going so far this year is that I've been trying to film as much as possible, as much interesting stuff as possible, and then kind of carving it up as I go along, working out what works for the main channel and what might be good exclusives for you guys. But moving forward, I'm hoping to change that. The plan at the moment, which you may have noticed from the main channel content, is that I'm kind of filming across 2 days and then just putting it all into one big main channel vlog. And the inspiration for that actually came from my drive across the Nullarbor, which is unbelievably my most popular video to date from Drive the World. The sort of the part of the trip that at one point I wasn't even going to do has got the most views, and so I'm trying to take some inspiration from that, work out what maybe people have enjoyed watching, and try and replicate that moving forward. What it means is that I hopefully have more opportunities to create specific content for you guys here on the website, and I'm kicking that off with today's kind of big reflective Q&A. I teased it the other day in one of my other videos that it's probably about time to look back on the first quarter of the year, the first 3 months of Drive the World, lessons I've learned, things that I really remember fondly, things that I don't remember so fondly, and just a bit of a general recap. So you join me and Vicky. Vicky's
hi everyone,
off camera as always, in the 911 Turbo S that's very kindly been lent to me by Porsche UK, and we are currently driving somewhere through Spain. We left Bilbao this morning, stopped off in Oviedo for the Fernando Alonso Museum, and we're hoping to be in Porto in about 3 hours. I've noticed that the battery's a little bit low on this camera, so we may have to swap those at some point, but we're going to give it a go and just do a bit of an overall take. The popcorn is out, so apologies if there's a lot of rustling, but I learned this from Porsche. They actually said the motorsport engineers learned on a long road trip popcorn is one of the best energy boosters. Who knew? They said don't drink coffee. I was like, damn you, have popcorn. So yeah, energy booster. Anyway, let's recap. Vicky's going to add her input as and when she can and help me with the questions that I should answer. But we'll kick things off in Australia. I have to say, the Formula in Australia worked really well. We really liked that. It was a city for a few days, an epic drive for a couple of days, and then a city for a few days, epic drive for a couple of days, etc. And I think we would agree that the cities that really stood out for us were Brisbane and Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far east and far west, the first city we visited and the final city, were just the cities we enjoyed the most. They were laid back, nice people, cool atmosphere, cool scene, but not too hectic.
I think a lot of it was to do with where they kind of were in our itinerary. So Brisbane was obviously the place that we started from, so that kind of had a
exciting
significance.
Exciting significance.
And then Perth was our last point, and it was after the Nullarbor, so it felt like it was
an
achievement, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so those two places were great, but I have to say my standout memory were the drives. The drives between each of the cities were just so amazing because the Australian scenery, incredible, and we worked really hard to kind of go off route, not take the most direct route, avoid motorways and highways, and stop off and see things. And we saw some incredible places. Saw a lot of koalas, which was like my dream. Like that was like, I was so happy to see koalas. And so if you missed any of those videos, go back and check them out. They're often sparsed in between the sort of city videos are the road trip vlogs, and obviously the Nullarbor was the standout one from that.
But we should say that because people kind of scared you to death with the kangaroos,
yeah,
and scared you to death of driving at night,
yeah,
we had to drive. So a normal drive that you do through Europe, and you kind of don't mind even if you start driving into the evening, we had to do before we hit 7 PM before sunset.
Well, I was genuinely terrified of a kangaroo hitting the car, mainly because I could not afford to repair the Carrera T if anything went wrong, and also it would just throw Drive the World into the complete mess if anything had happened to that car. So I was terrified about a kangaroo running out in front of me. So So yeah, we were basically driving from about 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Anything earlier or later was just too terrifying. So,
but that made those kind of stops and off-piste routes and kind of, you know, scenic lookout points very short.
Yeah.
So we had to run to places.
We physically ran to waterfalls and beaches.
Take the photo and run back to the car because we knew we had, you know, 10 minutes to play with. So
we were up against it. It wasn't that relaxing, but I look back on it fondly.
Yeah. No, it was amazing because we got to see a lot.
We saw so much, not for long.
Not for long.
Not for long. We saw a lot, just not for long. So that was amazing. And then, you know, to do it, to kickstart it in my car, I think was the right way to do it. And to be driving, a lot of people ask, you know, oh, what's the point in sending the car all the way to Australia? It was for that reason, to start the year as we sort of intended to go on, in my car and driving. A road trip always, I think you always have more memories when you do a road trip. Anyway, then we moved on to New Zealand, which both of us had very few expectations of. Had no idea what to expect. We're just like, it's going to be like Australia, isn't it? And we're blown away. Like the minute we landed, we got off the flight, which was a weird flight actually. I never really even talked about that. Air New Zealand. They do something called Sky Couch, which is you buy 2 economy seats and they offer you the 3rd really cheap, and then you can turn it into a bed, which sounds brilliant. And for one person is amazing because you basically get a bed for, well, maybe like £300-400 less than a business class seat, maybe a bit more. For 2 people, it's awful. It's awful. We were so cramped and so uncomfortable and miserable, and it was an overnight flight, and we woke up just feeling like death in New Zealand. I'll flow up a picture now of me when I woke up. You can see how fuming I was.
It was quite horrible, but it's because it's sideways, and you know that the normal business class seats, I suppose, are facing forward, whereas this was sideways, so you're sleeping sideways, so you always feel like you're going to fall on.
It was just uncomfortable. I don't think that made a lot of sense, but it was just uncomfortable. But when we walked into the New Zealand airport, we straight away were like, we love this place, because they had all this cool music playing, and they had a bit of the history of the Maori people, and there were just statues, and it was just immediately really intriguing. And then we had this incredible breakfast at Katru, just outside Auckland, and this amazing drive to the Coromandel for the Leadfoot Festival. Continued through the North Island, stayed down with my friend just outside Napier. Just had the most amazing time, didn't we?
Well, we saw some volcanic lands and sort of mud and live, you know, but basically the earth was breathing.
Yeah, the earth was breathing. Or breathing. Breathing, yeah. The earth was breathing. It was a super volcanically active area, which was kind of terrifying but amazing. You know, natural hot springs, just tons of earthquakes. You love earthquakes. Tons of just cool, intriguing stuff happening, which you don't find in other parts of the world, which is what we like. You know, at that point we were, and still are, super up for adventures and discovering new things. And so we were just kind of like just amazed by what was going on in New Zealand. And on top of that, the driving roads were insane. And we had the absolutely stupendous Bentley Continental GT, which is just the ultimate GT car, as the name suggests. We were then flying down to the South Island, because originally we were going to spend 2 weeks in New Zealand, but because of the rest of the itinerary for the year, we had to shorten that down to a week, which meant we could never drive North Island and South Island. It was just not going to work timing-wise. So I knew I had to fly in between the two. We got on this hilariously tiny flight with about 4 other people on it, and when we landed in the South Island, the weather was crap. So immediately after everyone had hyped the South Island, we were like, nah, not so sure. I think the North Island was better.
Yeah, just the South Island just looked like it could be anywhere else. I mean, it was still stunning and amazing, but you know, mountains, snow, big roads, like whatever. But there was something really magical about the North Island.
However, I would say 2 days later, when we did the drive back in the bright sunshine, it was amazing. Don't you think?
Yeah.
The South Island, yeah. It was. I just think the drive down in the clouds and the mist was a bit depressing. Once the sun came out, the South Island started to live up to its reputation a little bit.
And top tip in Queenstown.
Yeah.
Do the Tiki Trail.
Tiki Trail in Queenstown. Don't take the cable car up to the top of the Tiki cable car.
No, well, no.
Don't take the cable car. Don't take the famous cable car. do the Tiki Trail, the hike. It was amazing, exhausting but amazing. We're big fans of hikes, so yeah, check that out.
We don't do them that often, but whenever we do, we get really excited.
We really like them, yeah. Anything else on New Zealand that we want to touch on?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. So then things went a little downhill. Because at this point we were a month and a half in. We'd been running at like a terrifying pace, like trying to make 14 videos a day, Instagram, the website, social media in general, and we were operating on 12, 13-hour time differences. So we were just a mess, but we weren't aware of it. We were running so hard on adrenaline that we were kind of surviving just about. And then we got on a flight from New Zealand to Singapore, which was about 11 hours, and it was the first time we sort of stopped and had nothing to do because there was no Wi-Fi on the plane. I was kind of up to date with editing, and we just sort of sat there and watched movies. And it really affected me really, really badly because I got to Singapore, and I think on that flight, my body and my brain just went, whoa, slow down, and everything shut down. And I had like a mini panic attack. I had a mini breakdown in Singapore. It all got a bit too much. I lost all energy, all motivation, all desire for life. And basically sat on the floor in a market and started crying. That's not even a joke. And so yeah, Singapore was tough. I think the humidity and the exhaustion. And I'm going to be really honest, I was messed around a bit. I put it in an email update a few weeks ago. I was lucky when I did Vlog Angeles and Vlog Ari that loads of people got in touch with loads of amazing opportunities. So I thought Drive the World would be easy in that sense because it would be a very similar thing. In parts of Asia and in Singapore, people got in touch that maybe weren't that genuine. So I got offered some opportunities that weren't real, people who just kind of wanted to meet up and say hi. And I ended up spending time with some great people and filming some amazing videos, but there was also some time taken up that maybe could have been used better, and that frustrated me. So Singapore was tough. However, M3 GTS came out of it, and we did have a good time exploring with Claire. Yeah. We had an amazing time exploring with Claire. So we did have a brilliant time.
And the pig was fun. I think the pig was amazing.
The pig Paul. Yeah. Yeah, incredible. But my memories of Singapore were just a lot of exhaustion.
Yeah, well.
For me. Yeah. So we move on. Kuala Lumpur, again, I was sort of trying to pick myself up. We actually had a great time on that second day in Kuala Lumpur. Well, we were only there for a day and a half. But the second morning, we had an awesome time going to the local Cars and Coffee, going to that amazing dealership. So that was great. And then Hong Kong. When we landed, we are picked up in a Rolls Royce from the Peninsula Hotels. So luckily, I have an amazing friend connected with the Peninsula Hotels who offered to put us up for free during our time in Hong Kong. Lots of you will know him, he's appeared on the channel, but that's all I'm going to say. And I thought we were just going to be in a standard room, you know, just like, oh cool, just like chuck in the hotel. But no, he goes all out. He sends the vintage Rolls Royce to collect us from the airport, and we walked into what could only be described as a mansion.
Oh yeah, it was a huge apartment with probably 360 views. I think
oh my god, the most incredible views of Hong Kong. I mean, you would have seen it if you've been watching all the members' videos. You would have seen the hotel room tour. I should call it a hotel mansion tour. It was just, that whole week was an insight into what it must be like to travel with a tremendous budget. Something that unfortunately we're not being able to do this year. I mean, like, hey, we're traveling in fucking great style. We're in a Turbo S and staying in really nice places, but that was like another level. That was like billionaire travel. But Hong Kong, I fell in love with that place. So cool. Refreshing after Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, I think.
Yeah. And another top tip.
Yeah, another top
trying
tip.
To pinpoint
Vicky's top tips. Go on, yeah.
Again, from our friend who sort of kindly took us around and showed us the whole of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Go and try go to Little Bao.
Little Bao.
In, what area was it?
Soho.
In the Soho area of Hong Kong.
Opposite the PMQ, which is the Police Married Quarters, a big shopping centre. you know, that's my favourite.
But yeah, it's amazing food, amazing insight into the local kind of lifestyle, and just so cool. Worth a visit if you're ever.
That was our favourite area, wasn't it? Soho.
Yeah.
So Hong Kong, I really loved Hong Kong. I would go back in a flash. An amazing car culture. They don't drive their cars that often, but they have incredible cars there, and they're trying to those collectors or owners who do drive the cars and trying to encourage others to do so. So I think over the next 5-10 years, Hong Kong's really going to kick off with its car scene, because as I say, big money and big cars are lurking there. But that really started to pick me back up, I think, after Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, which I will freely admit were tough for me mentally. I really started to get back into the swing of things in Hong Kong and be excited about every opportunity. My energy levels recouped thanks to the peninsula, fundamentally, and that really helped.
Thanks to all the chocolate.
And all the chocolate was in the room.
From the chocolate shop at the peninsula.
Wow, yeah, that was incredible. And then we had the slight blip that was Shanghai. So I'll be honest, I'm going to just say it out now just to you guys exclusively. A manufacturer that should not be named, or will not be named, was supposed to lend me a car during my time in Shanghai, and I was going to do a little road trip down sort of a couple of hours south and explore China a bit, and I was excited to do that. Unfortunately, they then changed their tune a little bit, and the car that they had promised me, they said, oh, wasn't available, and they tried to put me into one of the other brands within the sort of family or the group, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do, and I didn't think it would be right, and anyway, I said no, which left me with very few plans in Shanghai. I desperately tried to get in touch with a few people that I knew that were there, but just everyone was out of town, or people weren't getting back to me, and it was a fail. It was a fail, and then we got there and didn't like it. People were very rude, and it was very smoggy.
But we had an amazing day exploring. So we went to the old town.
We managed to get out and find parts that we really liked.
Which was, I suppose the authentic Shanghai experience is, you know, much more different to the sort of staying in it. At this point, we were fed up with high-rise,
Asian
generic hotels and Asian cities, which all are just full of malls and
it's weird that
concrete jungles are not what we're after.
And I think that's why we liked Hong Kong so much, because it had an element, an air of like European intrigue about it, like especially the Soho area. And then you could get out to the beach and the hills very quickly. Whilst Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, and Shanghai, because of the rate of development and the money, they all feel very similar, just huge concrete jungles, and they've lost a little bit of their character. But luckily in Shanghai we did manage to go and find that in the old town. And what was that temple called, do you remember?
Senso-ji.
Senso-ji? Yeah. Or was that Tokyo?
The big
yeah.
Oh,
I wish I can remember. It's in our video though, but you can go check that out. In the Shanghai video, you'll find out. But yeah, that was a bit of a blip and a bit of a fail, and I'm sure there's an amazing car culture lurking under the scenes, but because of the lack of because you can't get on social media because of all the communism and the bans on it, I just struggled to come up with any cool car content. But hey, what can you do? We explored, we enjoyed ourselves. Then we moved on to Japan, and this video's going on a little bit, so we've got to battle through things quite quickly. Japan, unbelievable. I mean, my expectations were so high for Japan, and they were pretty much met. I guess except for the Japanese cars, the JDM scene, which I know a few of you have complained that I didn't do enough JDM stuff whilst I was there, but I tried so hard. I think one thing that somehow gets missed, or maybe we don't discuss enough as car YouTubers, is how we go about creating opportunities to film, or what we film. I messaged, it must have been 50 different Instagram JDM people, dealerships, car companies, blah blah blah, trying to film cool, intriguing Japanese cars, and got nowhere. However, I was offered the opportunity to go and meet one of the most famous and iconic Ferrari collectors in Japan, and offered a Ferrari to explore Japan in. Two things that I wasn't ever going to turn down. And so yes, I'm sure it would have been better to do it in a Nissan GTR, or more appropriate to do it in a Nissan GTR. I still love the experience of going out to Portofino, and we got to see Hakone, which we fell in love with.
It was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing, and so I'm sorry, I would have loved to have done more JDM content. It just didn't work out that way, unfortunately. I tried hard.
The thing is, it's quite an underground scene.
It is an underground scene, and they don't speak English. That was the other thing that I really
And apparently it happens at like 2 AM in the evening until 4 AM, which we didn't know. So, you know, you couldn't have slept until 2 AM and then woken up and then gone and filmed. It just kind of...
I just wasn't able to hack my way in, but that's one place I am definitely going back to. And Ken Saito, I think one of the best Instagram, or well, I shouldn't call him an Instagram photographer, one of the best car photographers out there in the world, but living in Japan, was amazing at hooking me up with a number of different opportunities, and is determined to get me back out there to do some JDM stuff as and when I can get there. So not to worry, I will go back to Japan at some point and try and break into this underground scene. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'll give it my best shot. But Japan in general, we just loved it. It's just an amazing place.
And Hakone, an amazing place to visit.
Yeah, beautiful, and the people and everything about Japan, everything you've imagined about Japan is true. Get there. Where do we go after Japan? Oh, India. About to go into a tunnel, so I'll wrap it up real quick. I just wasn't a fan. I was going to put it out there. I know I got a lot of Indian audience. Everyone has their own personal taste. Parts of it, I thought the people were amazing, but just wasn't really a fan of Delhi. I thought Jaipur was beautiful. Jaipur I liked, but I struggled with the rest of India. Just not my kind of place. But each to their own. I think that's all we're going to have to say. Cape Town I love, and I was super happy to get back there. Sorry by the way that it's really dark. We are driving through the mountains at the moment, so these tunnels are going to keep popping up.
Oh, it's crazy.
Crazy truck. See, that is the benefit of a Turbo S. When some lunatic pulls out, you can just absolutely stab the accelerator and you're out of there. Right, here we go. Sunlight. So yeah, so India was a blip.
It's one place that you just, there was no need.
Well, there was a need. I wanted to experience it, and it's like nowhere else I've ever been in my life. And that's the whole point of this year, and trying to understand the car scene there, not the supercar scene, but the car culture. Like, there was totally a need and a desire for me to go there. However, upon reflection, I probably didn't need to spend a week or 10 days there in terms of content.
Well, I think you were terrified.
I wasn't terrified.
You were scared on the road.
Oh, sorry, yeah, on the actual big roads it wasn't. Yeah, sorry.
Driving.
Yeah, the driving, I wouldn't have driven myself. I definitely wouldn't have driven. It was too much risk. But, yeah, maybe I didn't see the best parts of India, I don't know, but I just, anyway, it is what it is. We move on. Cape Town was brilliant, as epic as it always is. Funny that I ended up back in the same DB11 that I was in last year. A little annoying. I was trying to get into a DBS. That was the desperate plead, but unfortunately they couldn't get the car free, so I ended up in the DB11. Amazing to finally meet up with Andre, Frisco 911. That was so good, and great to chat to him.
An
amazing guy, quite an inspirational guy, and on a really just a good level, and just understands life. And we bonded a lot, and I think shared experiences. The fact that we're both currently doing these trips in our cars, slightly different trips, but that was definitely an inspirational day that we went out for a drive with him. And I'm trying to, I know I'm speeding up with the things, but it's 22 minutes now, so I realise this video's been going on a while. But, okay, so let's do our sort of main lessons learned from the first 3 months. I would say we shouldn't rush so much. I think we rushed a few things from a personal point of view.
We just tried to fit in as much as we can. Unfortunately, you tried to work as hard as you can. I tried to help you as hard as I can, and then we try and explore as hard as we can. But you just don't have enough hours in the day.
No, that's the thing. I think that's the biggest learning, is there aren't enough hours in the day, so don't try and make them up. like we need sleep. That is one thing that's essential. And in hindsight, flying is very different to driving. With all of my planning of this year, a 6-hour road trip, no big deal. You leave in the morning, you can film B-rolls, you move around, you can think about things, blah, blah. When you're flying 6 hours, it's very different. You've got 2 hours either side of that at the airport, you've probably got a time difference, flying itself somehow zaps your energy, and so...
And we overpacked, that's the other thing. We overpacked, and carrying those bags, checking them in, packing them every single day. Bear in mind, we weren't in a place for longer than 2 nights in each place. So every 2 days we had to pack again, and again, and again. And
that was full on.
We're still doing that.
But somehow it's more manageable. Somehow it's more manageable in the car for some reason, because the packing takes 5 or 10 minutes rather than 3 hours at the airport. But yeah, all in all, we had an incredible time. The first thing I want to work, we've got amazing memories. You very quickly forget the bad stuff and just remember the good stuff. And there's very little I would change, but I am excited now to be doing this stage. I can't wait to get my car back, and I feel like I understand how we should be doing things, how we should be filming things, how we should be experiencing things a bit better, to manage ourselves better, I think. Anyway, there's a summary, 25 minutes. Sorry, that really went on a lot longer than I thought, but I felt like it was needed. As I say, hopefully more content coming. This is going to be uploaded with a couple of other exclusive videos that have been a little bit long overdue. And what have I got ahead that I can tease? I think you all now know that I'm going to be picking up a 992 Carrera in Barcelona in a few weeks. Shortly after Monaco, we're headed to Italy, where Lamborghini are going to be handing us a car for 4 days. They're going to be taking the Carrera off us, giving us the keys to a Lambo for 4 days to explore parts of Italy in. So, considering I'm not really a Lambo guy, that should be interesting. Anyway,
I can't wait.
You can't wait. Vicky loves Lambos. Vicky loves Lambos. I'm not going to say give it a thumbs up and make sure I subscribe, because you guys are the heroes that subscribed to the website. So I'll just catch up with you very, very soon. Bye bye.